Welcome back to the Hall of Fame show. It's your girl Myra, and I am here with two legends, okay? You see them in these chairs. We are here with Dwayne The Rock, the Messenger, okay? He has many other hats, and we are going to get into them. And then we're also here with Jonni Vegaz, who, as in LA, is a actor, filmmaker, and music supervisor, and about 5 other things.
Amongst other things, that's correct. We'll get into all of that.
Okay. We have to dig in first to the fits, okay? We are dealing with some East Siders, okay? What's the fit? What's the woof? What's the look like today?
This is like T.I.'s clothing.
Okay. Straight out of T.I.'s closet. Okay. And then over here, coming straight from a yacht.
That's a fact. So this brand is called Sticky. So basically, that's one of my clients. So we basically work with other influencers and turn their logos into patches. And then we put it on the hat, and it's made out of Velcro, so you can literally reposition it. So we're doing a couple brand deals with them as well. And then this is just, Thursday outfit type shit.
A casual Thursday. Well, thank you both so much for being here. Let's make sure our mics are close to
Sam,
our...
you can hear me good? Did you hear all of that? Okay, cool. I forgot how I said it, so I can't repeat it.
He didn't hear you, so just say it one last time.
You heard everything, though?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
You could just tell he's...
You're
Far
inching
away,
further
far
back.
away. Now I'm closer, right? All right, cool.
Awesome. Well, thank you both so much for being here.
Thank you.
For our audience, do you guys want to give a little background on where you're from? We, like I said, East Siders over here, so we have Massachusetts and New York, and how you kind of made it out to LA. Do you want to start?
One-way plane ticket, 1993.
Chasing the dream.
Not chasing it, attracting the reality.
Yes. And he's
You don't
also a
chase-
life
you
coach.
You don't chase nothing.
You manifest?
So people who tell people chasing dream should stop. Because if you're chasing something, you don't want it. It's running from you. Why would you want to chase it?
Okay, so tell us how to rephrase it
So
again.
basically, you're attracting your reality.
Okay.
You're manifesting it.
Yeah.
If you bring it in, it comes to you. You ain't got to go to it. So we're not chasing nothing. We're attracting it. It's coming to us.
He is attracting his reality.
Yes.
One-way ticket to Los Angeles.
One-way ticket. Determined, focused, by all means necessary. Came out here. Was homeless 3 times. Sticking to the script. Sticking to the grind. And God said, I got you. So, never complained. Just always was ready for the action.
Yeah. And talk about that a little bit. How did you stay motivated when you went through things like homelessness, for example, to continue your journey?
I left a place where a lot of love, a lot of hate, but no opportunities. But I know this place had the opportunities. So I just had to wait my turn. I knew it was coming. It was ordained. Came out here when I was 4 years old. Told the pilot, American Airlines, I was gonna come out here and be somebody big.
At 4 years old.
1993, American Airlines, same seat that I flew on American Airlines when I was 4 years old. Same seat. Fast forward 93, here I am. I ain't gone back. Just only to visit. But staying motivated is surrounding yourself with people who share the same likeness. It just so happens that the people that I was grinding with out here became very successful, such as Will I Am, Exhibit, Fat Lip from the Far Side, Diggable Planets. You know, these are all people that I was grinding with out here in LA. And then God said we're going to shift gears. Because I came out here to be a rapper. And I had a meeting with Ice Cube. And I went out that night, celebrated the day before the meeting, celebrated a little too early. And somebody broke into the car and stole all my music. So I was forced to cancel the meeting. So it didn't happen. And I was forced to become a music producer because I couldn't find anybody to make the beats for me to rap over. Hooked up with a musician named Stephen Brown, jazz musician, and would give him my ideas, and he would translate it. And then I just bought an MPC, and Big Daddy Kane was my first client. And then from there, Kumo D, LL, Rakim, KRS, and it was up from there. But I had to humble myself because I came out here to be one thing and God turned it into something else. Ended up getting in 98. In 94, I had a dream that I worked with Janet Jackson. It was a vivid dream. 4 years later, I take a meeting with Michael Jackson's label, play a song that I remade of hers. They told me I can't get it cleared. They said it's impossible. They said if I get it cleared, I'll have a record deal with this independent label out of Warner Brothers from Milk Records, MILKK. They were based out of London, and Warner Brothers in Germany. And so when they told me that the Janet Jackson sample can't get cleared because I redid Let's Wait a While over, I looked at them and was like, I'm going to get it cleared. And they were like, well, if you get it cleared, he said, the guy told me, I'll give you $10,000 outside of the deal if you can get it cleared. So I said, all right. So something in my spirit told me to call Busta Rhymes. So I called a hotel that he normally stays at. And I told my boy that was with us, I said, listen, we're going to meet Janet. He said, how? He said, you know her? I was like, nah, but I could feel it. We're going to meet her. He was like, well, where do we go now? I said, let me call this hotel to see if Busta Rhymes is there. If Busta's there, we're going to meet Janet. He was like, dude, if Janet shows up, I'm going to lose it. I said, if you embarrass me, it's going to be a problem. Don't fan out. He's like, yo, I'm going to lose it. I'm letting you know. I'm a fan. I'm going to lose it. I was like, so now I'm scratching my head if I even want to go now because I don't know the magnitude of him losing it. Don't know what that looks like.
At least he was honest, right?
Right.
So I called up Busta Rhymes' hotel. I was like, can I speak to Trevor, please? And the lady was like, Trevor? I was like, yeah. I said, I think his last name is Brown or Smith. I didn't really know it at the time. And I was like, it's one or the other. She says, well, since you said one of the names, I'll transfer you. So, and he's on the phone. He's like, yo, who's this? I said, yo, Busta, listen, it's The Rock. Yo, Rock, listen, I'm busy. I got to get ready for this rehearsal with Janet. I said, word? He said, yes. I said, all right, click, let's go. We rushed to the hotel where he was at. And I said, Janet's going to pull up any moment now. Felt it. She pulled up in a black Range Rover. I ran over to the car, tapped on the window. She said, excuse me, how can I help you? I said, Janet, listen, I just had a meeting with your brother's label today. Ken Commissar, they telling me that I can't get this Let's Wait a While record cleared. You think you can help me clear it? She says, I got to hear it. Put the CD in her car, played it. She said, who's that rapping? I said, that's me. She says, oh, we're going to do business. She gave me the lawyer's information, took it to the next day, was at the record label at 7 o'clock in the morning. Dude comes in and says, yo, what are you doing here? I said, listen, I got Janet Jackson's permission. He said, there's no way, dude. You just left my office yesterday. You didn't know her. How did you? And I said, well, call her Lindsay. Call Lindsay. That's her. He said, Lindsay? How do you know about Lindsay? I said, well, call her. She going to see what's up. Called Lindsay. She said, hey, Ken, I had a call that was going out to you. Yeah, there's this guy named The Rock. Yeah, Janet's approving the clearance. Got me my record deal. Changed my life. I was on an album that sold 14 million albums. I was on a compilation. Traveled all over Germany. Was managed by Johnny Wright at the time, who was handling Backstreet Boys and Sync. And toured all over Germany. Lived out there for 8 months. And came back. Plugged up with Shaquille O'Neal. Had a production deal with him. And then I was just grinding. But I had this girl. Told her to hold down my apartment while I'm back. She said, I found a place for you you're gonna love. So I was like, all right, bet. So I come back, thinking I'm moving into the place. The apartment got flooded.
Ugh.
So I was like, huh?
Danger.
So now I'm homeless again, but with money. So it's a different kind of homeless. You know, I mean, I could pick the way to sleep.
Right,
It's
that's
like, you know, versus, you know, asking where I could sleep. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, and it's been up. It's been up ever since. But I'm staying humble. And then started, you know, working with a bunch of artists and I did KRS-One's project, Stop the Violence project for him, and yeah, then scoring movies, TV shows, and it was just me and God. You know, I didn't have a manager. You know, at the time, it was just me and God was just running these streets, going to open mics, going find one of my bizarre episodes is Kumo D. Like, he's a legendary artist. He was eating inside Jerry's Deli. I drove by, saw him through the glass eating. I was like, yo, I got to meet this guy. I double parked, ran up to him. He said, what do you want? You're bothering me. I said, bro, I got some beats for you. He said, you see I'm eating, right? He says, I don't have time for it. I said, I'm letting you know right now. I press play. You're going to buy this track. I'm going to be on your album. And you're going to want another one. You got a lot of balls. Who are you? So I produced Big Daddy Kane. Oh, you work with Kane? Okay. Press play. Press play. He was like, oh, I like that. How much you want for this? I was like, give me $5,000. He was like, play me another one. How much you want for this? Same price. All right, come on Friday and pick up a check for $10,000. That's how I hooked that up. But I would get all my placements based off of walking around with headphones and a device called a DAT that would allow me to play all my beats off of. So, yeah, I was bold. I didn't care if you was eating, snoring, you know, wherever you was at. If I see you on site, I'm coming up to you and I'm playing the beat for you. That's how I got my placements.
And we're about to get to your story as well. But one question, a lot of our viewers who, same as you, might be coming to LA and they're like, I'm buying a one-way plane ticket. I'll sleep out of my car. I don't care. I want to make it in LA. And they're asking, even with your first story, well, how did you get the meeting with Ice Cube? Did you just come and start networking? What events did you go to?
I went to a lot of open mics. Yeah, I was just really like, you know, going to showcases, and I had a gift of rapping off the top of the head and winning contests and showcases, and so that's how I made a living. So, and but then, you know, as roommates, you know, with a woman who ended up being my son's mom, and she said, I have to get a job. She said, that's rapping stuff. I ain't paying the bills right now. So I go get a telemarketing job, because I used to do that back in the day, selling tickets, circus tickets and stuff, you know. And so I had a good voice for talking, and then I got fired. But I got fired for sticking up for the boss. Because the guy was like, listen, you mind repeating all that again? I said, you interested in what I'm saying? He was like, I'm totally interested in what you're saying. You mind giving me the pitch all over again? So I was like, yeah, this is the Clean Air Act. Went through the whole spiel. He says, you know what? I said, what's up? He said, tell your boss to go F himself. And I said, what? What the hell is y'all? I'm swearing. I was like, man, don't you ever say no like that again. I don't know if he's cuss on here or nothing, but I was like, don't you ever say no shit like that again. But the boss comes over and says, hey, I see you have a little bit of anger inside of you. I don't think this place is for you. I was like, listen, the dude told me to tell you to go F yourself, and I'm sticking up for you, and you're mad?
Wow.
I said, you know what? Yeah, this place ain't for me.
We're going to give you a leave of absence indefinitely.
The
I was
customer
23 years old.
Right.
I was 23 years old, and I ain't had a job since. So God said, I'm gonna humble you for you to work for you.
Yeah.
And that's it. But I recommend, if you ain't ready to grind for this, don't come. If you're not ready to go all out for this, and I mean, listen, I ain't ate in 6 days. I find I go stay with somebody. They have a box of rice in the cabinet. So I take the rice, put it in the pot, and I grab something, and a glass fell out the cabinet into the rice and broke in pieces. I ate glass with the rice. The glass broke up in so micro pieces that I eat glass. So I ain't advising anybody to eat no glass.
Yeah. If you ain't ready to eat glass, don't come to LA.
I could have easily.
How bad do you want it?
I could have easily went back to Boston.
Yeah. I'm not gonna let that man
I could have easily. I could have gave up. Could have gave up right then and there. Called my mom. Said, hey, what's up? She said, how's everything going? I said, I'm making it out here. I'm doing great. Hung up the phone and cried because I wasn't.
Yeah.
But I always wanted her to think I'm doing better than, so I never went home. Never called home for no type of assistance. No type of help. But I asked no one for nothing. And God just showed himself.
Amen.
And there it is. And now I'm the man who I came out here to be. Actually, to meet.
Word.
I'm putting my own self on. So I came out here to meet me. Hello, Dwayne The Rock.
I love that.
You know?
Johnny, do you wanna go into your story a little bit?
Man, you know what? In comparison to Dwayne's story, it's like, I just sitting here listening to him and listening to that journey is so inspiring, because we inspire to do those same things. I'm not at that level by no means, but, I came across a few people, did a couple things in my day. Currently, as I mentioned earlier, and by the way, my real name is Cheyenne Andujar. I go by Jonni Vegaz as a musician, but I come from sales just like him. We had the telemarketing backgrounds and all of that. So, but anyway, actor, film producer, songwriter, author. I currently own a real estate business as well. That's what is the foundation that keeps me going in the entertainment and allows me to play in this space and, produce these extracurricular activities that I'm involved in. And then I also host a podcast as well called Sleep is for Billionaires. We interview celebrities and entrepreneurs on how to become an industry professional, specifically in the entertainment space. So it's more so about education and entertainment, but we also entertain. And then I have a talent management agency, you know what I'm saying? So a lot of the people that I met in my podcast became my clients, you know what I'm saying? So I was able to, connect the dots within them, because when I moved to LA, after I fired my last telemarketing job, I was like, I told my girl at the time.
You fired or got fired?
No, I fired them. Let's be clear.
Okay, I was like, wait, did you do the same thing?
I fired them.
You were working for them and you fired them.
That part. That's my
How does
story,
that work?
and I'm sticking to it.
How does that work?
Wow.
Because my spirit didn't align with the mission that they had. I knew eventually we were going to part ways, and when it happened, I was like, it was time. You know what I'm saying? Already, and I knew that.
You're fired.
That part, yeah. You didn't want me. You know what? I didn't want you either. You know, but at that point,
I didn't want you before you didn't want me.
right. But it was an even exchange. We exchanged time for money. You know how that go. But anyway, at that time, I was like, I told my girl at the time, who's now my fiance, like, yo, if I get another job, I ain't going no. I'm never gonna leave. And I knew I had to be in LA to accomplish the goals. You know what I mean? So, came out here. We drove. Took like 5 days, and we made it happen. I did okay. As an actor, I got into over 100 films. I'm in the Screen Actors Guild. I'm also a film producer as well. So that was going well until the pandemic hit. So I wasn't really making no money at the time. So I put my salesman hat back on and got my real estate license. Then did some transactions. Started my own little brokerage or whatever. But also during the pandemic, I was heavy in the PPE space, so I'm a hustler, you know what I'm saying? So we were selling the masks, we were selling the ventilators to the governments and hospitals, and I was kind of facilitating everything. So that's what kind of helped me, eat during the pandemic. But again, when it opened up, we had to liquidate the assets and just basically sell off all the inventory at pennies on the dollar, took the bread, and then got my license and then started doing my thing on the real estate stuff. But anyway, so from there, you know what I'm saying, during that time I was doing the podcast. I got all those people that I interacted with, and I kept that going. So that just became a web, for me to build a network. Because before I came to LA, I was like, damn, yo, I needed to build a network fast. And I didn't know nobody, so I was like, what's the quickest way I can attract people? And I was like, fuck it, podcast was in. Can I curse on here? Podcast was in. So that let me just start a podcast. Let me take the name Sleep is for Billionaires, which was my third album that I had released, that title. So I'm like, yo, let me just roll that over, build it up, and build up a client base from there. So like I said, all these guests that came through, from Fredro Starr, what's his name, Dorian Wilson, who's Professor Ogilvy. He was actually my first guest. You know what I'm saying? It's just so many people that, like, a bunch of entertainment lawyers, actresses, models that I interviewed. I mean, basically they all became my clients at the same time and my friends. So, that kind of helped leverage all the things I'm doing now. But even before that, man, like I said, I'm originally from New York, from the Bronx. Grew up right there next to Cedric Ave, where they named that street after hip-hop. Hip-hop came from the Bronx, 1984, August 11th. I was born August 12th, 1985. So it's like it was kind of meant to be. So from there, went to New Jersey. I actually went to the school East Side, which was that movie Lean on Me with Morgan Freeman. You know what I'm saying, about East Side High School. You never heard that? You never heard Lean on? How old are you?
I'm 28.
Got it. Okay, so it's before your time. But anyway, I went to that high school, whatever, for a couple years. And then when the Twin Towers fell, we migrated to Tampa, Florida. And that's really when I started the music journey. You know what I'm saying? I was doing a lot of rap battles. You know what I'm saying? I dropped a lot of mixtapes, did a lot of open mics, and then did some festivals out there. Got a couple songs on the radio. And then, as I mentioned, with the music and the sales, it was kind of like balancing that out because the sales was paying for the music. And then again, when I fired my last job, that's when, everything I mentioned prior to that took place. So now, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, I did over 100 films, Screen Actors Guild, producing movies, now more of like an executive producer. So I source the financing for the films to get made, as long as it has certain elements in place. So I'm a little selective in the projects I take on. And then, I just released my second book, working on my third. My second book is called Network King, and the King is capitalized. And it's basically a guide for introverted people in extroverted positions. So it basically helps you come out of your shell, because you don't know what other opportunities can come from that. And then my first book was titled Sleep is for Billionaires, so it's an extension of...
Now, is that ironic? Because don't they say that billionaires sleep the least?
And I'm glad you brought that up. They say billionaires don't sleep, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, yeah, so why are you sleeping? Exactly. You're not a billionaire. You don't sleep on your potential.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much the synopsis of the book. It kind of gives you a series of exercises like that. Basically, you use reverse psychology on yourself and then take these... I designed a series of questions to do that. So you take the answers and basically use them to hold yourself accountable to your desires, interests, and motivation to succeed. And that's what that first book is about. So basically, it's self-help books that I wrote. So, but yeah, man. So as you can see, I got a lot going on. I got my hands in a bunch of shit. You know, but ultimately, man, it's for the greater good. You know what I'm saying? I got with Dwayne The Rock. Like I said, we met at an Onyx show. You know what I'm saying? I do some management with Onyx. Shout out Fredro Starr. And he was playing some beats in there, you know what I'm saying? He was like, who the rappers? So I came in and we just started freestyling back to back, you know what I'm saying? Drinking some drinks and all that. And then from there, he invited me to be a writer on his show called Collab, which was pretty dope, you know? So I got to write a song on there. And then, yeah, man. And then we just been boys ever since, man. Hopefully working on some other stuff. So, yeah, so that's that, you know what I mean?
That is all facts.
Yeah. Yeah.
So since you're such a multi-hyphenate, would
Shout
you
out to
say
that.
there's one aspect that you enjoy more than the others?
Yeah.
Like, do you like the music more, the film, the writing, the real
So,
estate? What do you?
Well, I'm a natural actor. Like, that's just me. That's just what comes out of me. That's naturally. My love is hip hop. You know what I'm saying? I love music. I love what I do. I love creating. I love being a writer more than a rapper, just because as a rapper, it's like I feel like I'm limited to my creativity because of my image. But as a writer, I'm limitless. You know, I can write for a singer. I can write for reggaeton, R&B, like pop music, English or Spanish, because I'm full-blooded Dominican. You know, but as of right now, like, when it comes to the money, man, that real estate, it's the foundation. You know what I mean? I love it because it's like
It's the only state that is real.
that part. You know what I'm saying? It's an asset, cash producing. You know, and it finances a lot of what I have going on of my dreams. You know,
Yeah.
type shit.
Okay.
And that's it, yo.
Okay. Awesome.
What about you?
Awesome.
Tell me about yourself. You know what I'm saying? You're asking us a bunch of questions.
This podcast is not about me, but
But it should be. Tell me about Myra. I want to know about Myra. Where your family from?
I'm from Houston.
Shout out to that.
Yeah, and I work at a media outlet, which will not be named on the podcast, as a producer.
Shout out to
and
that.
then we started Hall of Fame with X and Max, who are behind the camera, my wonderful director and
Yeah.
producer, about 6 months ago, to
Nice.
bring up and coming headliners and kind of let them tell their stories and have some fun on this podcast. So
Where'd you get this energy from? Is that like a Houston thing? Because you got the big energy. It's like so magnetic. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm like 30 minutes from like the real Houston, so I'm
Okay.
from the suburbs, but you know, just enjoying life maybe. Just trying to appreciate every day.
Yeah.
Trying to go into every
Not
day.
trying.
Mm.
You can't even
He's
use that
gonna get
word.
me every time, okay?
You can't
Tell
use
us
that
wh-
word.
Okay.
That word is designed for failure.
Mm.
Okay.
Talk about
What
it.
should I be
Trying,
saying?
It's like, this is what you're doing. This is what's done. That this trying is its own separate word that is not. It's not. Trying is trying. Doing is doing. Done is done. So
What if some
you
days
look
I'm
at-
doing and some days I'm trying?
Well,
Because some days I'm like, that's not gonna work out today.
No trying. You'll be trying forever.
Right.
Done is done. So when you're in the process of doing something, it's getting done. I'm doing it. Trying, that's not sure. That word is not sure. That word is not.
Facts.
That word is like maybe, hopefully, I wish. Sounds it's a insecure word. Doing it is done.
Okay.
So you're not allowed to. You're not stay away from the gray area. See, if you look like shit, you can say any word you want and it won't manifest. But because you have a look, you're gonna attract every word you say. So make it about it being done, not trying to get it done.
Yeah. Yeah, your story's already written. You just gotta go through the process. You know what I'm saying?
I feel like I have some I know you're a life coach, but like some life gurus over here. We're gonna go on a quick break, but
Life
we're
is
about
my coach. You heard?
Okay, these sayings need to be
Back after
put
these messages.
on shirts, but we will be right back. Welcome back to the Hall of Fame show. I'm your host, Myra, here with my two lovely guests, Dwayne The Rock and Jonni Vegaz. We just learned a little bit about them, but to go a little bit deeper, I know, Dwayne, you're a life coach. You've gotten to a lot of spirituality. How did you start that journey?
Well, that journey was a journey that's been part of my whole since 4 years old. So
4 is like your age.
4 is when I actually tapped into myself, and when I discovered that I had a strong level of intuition, and God was working closely with me through my whole childhood. And when I started to put things in motion, and perspectives in motion, and actually executing the perspective, I said, let me see if I can do this with other people, and my success rate was through the roof. And then see if I could do it with people who are not in the industry. Took a homeless person off the street, turned him into a millionaire. And that was 17 years ago. So
I have to stop you there because, like, what was that? You just found a homeless person.
I was about to beat him up because he was banging on my car, like pounding on my car. He was at the gas station. And I went up to him. I said, yo, listen, you touch my car one more time, it's going to be a problem. And he was like, man, I'm malnourished. I have not ate in 2 weeks. I'm just hungry. So I said, well, go meet me over there. We met him at this pizza spot. Got him some food. He had a fanny pack with a cell phone on it. So I was like, and I was with my friend. He was in the car, and he was like, where you going? I said, I'm going to go get this homeless person some food. He was like, oh, all right. And then he goes inside. The guy is sitting there looking at my Coke can and says, what would you do if you saw your name on a Coke can? If you saw your name on a Coke can, would you buy it? I said, yeah. He said, because you buy it because it has my name on it.
This is the homeless person who's telling you this.
So I was like, I said, why would you say that? He says, I'm big into marketing. I know how to market. And I'm like, have you done anything like this before? He was like, no. So then God just told me that, I said, I want to stay in contact with you. Let's go get you some minutes for your cell phone. So went to Best Buy, which was around the corner. So my boy is like, what are you doing? I said, I'm going to go buy this homeless person a cell phone. He said, he's homeless. Who's he going to call? He ain't got no one to call. I said, he going to call me. He said, so you're telling me you're going to be buy a homeless person a cell phone just so you can only talk to him? I was like, I might be the only person he needs. He was like, all right, man, let's go get this cell phone. What kind of phone you going to get him? How many minutes you plan on putting on? Like this. I was like, yo. So I said, Jerry, I put him in my car and brought him to Best Buy, got him a cell phone, called him up the next day. I said, listen, I have this feeling that you can be great being at a company, being a marketing person at a company. So he was like, that's my goal, man. That's my dream. You know, hopefully one day it'll come to light. I said, it's going to come to light. So I called up my friend who was Babyface's assistant at the time. Assistant at the time. And I asked her to give me a fictitious resume for my friend. She did it up. Found an opening at Bud. Wow. Submitted it. The guy got the job.
Hey, man. That's awesome.
Coming in at making $125 a year.
I have so many questions about this story.
$125,000 a year.
Because was he a marketer
17
before?
years ago.
Wow.
The fictitious resume.
But did you not feel if I make this man a fake resume that this could come back on me because he does not have any of this experience?
How is it going to come back on me?
Yeah, he's not the referral. You know what I'm saying?
I'm just like the person. I'm just like, if anything, it would have came back on the other person who actually made their introductions. Who ain't gonna come back on me.
Exactly.
Because if he don't check out, if his work expertise ain't there, the furthest it's gonna go is him being fired.
Right.
You don't work here, it's not gonna work.
Business
Boom.
goes on.
The fact that he went in there and killed it, they were like, okay, we're gonna, then his salary went up, and then it went up.
So you
even
like
more.
helps him like
That's
get a
amazing.
suit, prepare.
I bought him some clothes. You know what I'm saying? Got him. The crazy thing about it is he was my size and waist, so I gave him some belts. You know what I mean? And got him some shoes. Got him a. They say all you need is a blazer and some jeans. And you put,
That's how they say.
you put the blazer and some jeans, and you get a tie. Shoes.
And Budweiser.
Budweiser.
Yeah. The guy's still there.
Amazing.
17 years ago.
That literally sounds like a Tyler Perry movie to me.
Facts.
But that's amazing. And what
sure.
made you want to help a man after they were like beating on your car? I guess did you have some sort of instinct?
Yeah, as soon as he told me he was malnourished, I reflected back when I didn't eat for 6 days. So I turned around and was like, he can be somebody. I turned out to be somebody. But I never was on drugs, never been to jail, never done nothing crazy. I went through a time in my life where I hit a hard rock in a hard place and had to stop from the bottom and go all the way up, But I saw something in him. But he's not the only person that I've helped.
That was
I've
just
helped.
the first.
That was the first opportunity from someone who's not in the industry. But there's I've saved about 22 lives in the last 7 years from committing suicide. Woke 3 people up out of a coma with no brain activity when the doctor's about to pull the plug.
Every time you keep saying something, I just want to know how. How did you save these people? Is it just you have something where people can click a link to get counseling sessions with you?
Well, what happened is this lady, her niece overdosed on fentanyl. So she wasn't breathing for 30 minutes. So she was dead, completely brain dead, according to the doctors.
Yeah.
So she made a post. She said, "Please, Lord, don't take my niece. Don't take my niece." I sent her a message. I said, "Excuse me, what's going on here?" She says, "My niece, it's 11:15 right now. At 12 o'clock, they're gonna pull the plug on her." I said, "Why?" She said, "She's brain dead." I said, "Are you serious?" I says, "Do me a favor. Call me on this video in 10 minutes. So she called me on the 10 minutes. She called me on the video. And I said, the skin in between your fingertips is connected to 12 cranial nerves. It's going to open up the other side of the brain. She was like, huh? So I made her do the pressure points with me on the phone and hung it up. 20 minutes later, I don't know if we can see this, but 20 minutes later, so I hit her up. I said, "Hey, what happened? Are they gonna pull the plug?" She said, "No." She woke up, did as you said. She woke up 20 minutes later. They're taking her off the breathing machine. I was like, "Is she talking?" She was like, "Yes."
Wow.
Do you ever tell people these stories and they're just like...
I mean, there's I saved a man's life on United Airlines from committing suicide mid-flight. Walked up to him and said, "God told me to tell you you're not going to kill yourself on this plane." And he screamed at the top of his lungs. He wrote a suicide note to end his life. And I have all these testimonials from everybody that I've pretty much saved. So, but
how do you get a calling like this? How do you realize?
It's a high level of responsibility. This is why I don't entertain dumbness, and I'll share this with you right now. Here it is. It was like, I said, call me. She calls me, see the video. It says, don't take her off life support. She may pull through in 11th hour. She's like, how's it going? Did as you said, 20 minutes, she opened her eyes. They're going to take her off the breathing machine. Thank you so much, God. I really appreciate you, love you, thank you, boom, boom, boom. Don't know this lady, never met this lady in my life.
Oh my goodness.
I said, keep her on the breathing machine. She might need to build up her lungs. Get her some ginger ASAP. Is she talking? Yes. Mind you, it's 8:25 East Coast time. West Coast time.
I'm seeing these messages in real time.
East Coast time. That's 11:30. At 12 o'clock, they were pulling the plug.
Sheesh.
So that's why I'm called the messenger. I get a message. I could be talking to you right now and God would tell me to go do CPR someone across the street and I will run and save somebody's life. I've literally saw a stranger walking across the street downtown. God told me to grab him by the hood. I grabbed him by a hood and a car hit the pole that he was holding on to. He would have been dead. I have about 22 stories of.
Do you go to church? Or this is strictly just like...
To be honest, I grew up Catholic.
Okay.
I grew up Catholic, but I came out here and went to one of these churches. I don't want to put the pastor on blast, but I tried to shake the pastor's hand, and security rushed me and told me like, you can't touch the pastor. I said, he's a man of God that should be able to touch him. So that deterred me from wanting to go to church. So I decided to tap into meditation. I got into energy, got big into martial arts, and I started hearing God so loud. And it was a gift that I put on hold because when I grew up Catholic, you having these type of gifts, they don't look at it like you godly. They look at it like it's the devil. So it was totally, it was Prophet Isaiah. God had prophets. There's a lot of prophets, So I knew I was a prophet at 4 years old. I told the preschool bus driver we're going to crash. Preschool bus driver says, go sit your ass down. I held on to the window. When the window on the yellow bus, you push the window.
When you were 4?
4 years old, you push the things in and slide it down. I had my hand out the window. The seat that's in front of me, I pushed that window down and held on to the frame and waited for the bus to crash. The bus crashed and tipped over. Everybody got hurt on the bus but me, and I had to jump down from the window because the bus tipped over. And I told the bus driver we was going to crash. He was a drunk driver.
Damn.
So that's 4 years old.
That's crazy.
Then when my grandfather died at 12 years old, my mom's coming home. She's like, hey, how you doing? I said, Grandpa died. She said, don't say that. That's not nice. I said, Ma, he died. She said, why would you say that? I said, Ma, call my father. She calls my father. She said, hey, Joey, what's up? How's it doing? I have some bad news. She said, yeah, I know. Dwayne just told me that your father died. He said, that's bullshit. How did Dwayne say that? I haven't even called him to tell him the news. My father just died in my arms just now. Wow. How did he? You're a liar. You called him and told him I didn't call him. I'm listening on the other line. I'm upstairs on the phone. And my mother and father's arguing. You called him. You're a liar. You did. They both didn't believe that I knew it happened before it happened. So once they argued, I said, I'm never sharing my gift again. And I shut down. And I literally would go up to people, hug them, and go cry. And they were like, what's wrong? I said, oh, that person's going to die in 2 days. And the person be dead. And my mother would be like, what's wrong with you? I said, Ma, that person's going to die. Why would you say that? Next thing you know, that person got hit by a car and died. And so that was a gift that I had ever since I was a kid. I had nobody to talk to, no one to understand it. So I would constantly be in a state of like loneliness because I felt like no one had this gift. I was told that it's not godly. So when I turned around and was like, why me? Like, why do I, what about me that none of my friends, and I would tell them, I was talking to this one dude, this one guy was like, hey man, you know, when you tap in, and he was from the islands, Cape Verde Islands, and I was talking to him on the phone in Cape Verde, and he said, brother, I have to tell you something. I said, what? He says, man, you know, God told me who you are. I said, really? He said, you have the gift that I have. We can change the weather. We can raise the waves in the ocean. We can, and I'm like, huh? What are you talking about? He said, we could transfer energy. We can move things with our mind. That's when I was like, this is probably what they're saying is the devil. Because when you're using telekinesis, telekinetic energy, all that other stuff, it's just, you know what I mean? So I literally watched this dude look at something and move it across the room. I've seen that.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And that scared the shit out of me. So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to entertain that. You know what I mean? And I would literally do things, say things just to see where I was at on the spiritual level, on the energy level, on all that stuff. And I remember my friend came to visit me, man, and I was like, yo, bro, I just want you to know I love you, man. And he was like, man, why you keep telling me that, man? I said, yo, bro, I love you, bro. I gave him a hug, kind of emotional. Gave him a hug, and 3 days later, he died. And he was like, yo, why you hugging me, bro? What's up, man? I was like, yo, man, I love you, bro. And he was like, yo, you sure you all right? I was like, yo, I'm good, bro. And I'm looking at him through the window as he's leaving, tears rolling down my face. And I was like, so I called my boy. I said, yo, you ain't gonna believe this, man. He was like, what's up, man? I said, I just have a feeling that Lamont's gonna die. And he was like, nah, you can't say that, bro. Like, why would you say that, man? Like, don't put that type of energy out. I was like, yo, just felt it, bro. And then I get the phone call from my boy that I told. He said, dude, how do you process this? Like, how do you get this information? Who do you talk to? You sound crazy. So I was just like, man, it was just like a journey of having a gift that nobody could really, relate. No one could understand. No one could, or even has any type of experiences. But me and God have a relationship that is. I almost died 9 times, so I look at myself as a real earth angel that has gifts. So I make it my life a purpose to be of service for everybody. I made it already. So, and the fact that I'm still here, that lets me know that my mission is not done. So I have to complete the mission. But I literally would just pick up the phone and be like, yo, what are you doing right now? Oh, I'm chilling. I need you to stay home. Why would you tell me that? Just stay home, bro. Don't go out. Nah, man, bro, do me a favor. Stay home. Just stay home, man. Nah, man, I'm still going to, I was like, yo. And I would hang up the phone and always just bless myself after hanging up the phone, because that would be the last time I talk to that person. Whenever I bless myself after the phone call, It was the last time I was talking to them. So
You
you
ever
might.
wish you could turn off the gift, or that you
can't.
just wouldn't.
See, the thing is though, is this gift has this. I was dating this chick. So check this out. Watch this. I was dating this chick. I was living in Germany. I was dating this chick, and I turn around and come home, and I said, "Yo, you was cheating on me." She said, "What are you talking about?" I said, "You was cheating on me, like for real." She said, "What are you talking about?" I said, "Do me a favor. Give me your cell phone." This is on God. I said, "Give me your cell phone." She said, "What do you need my cell phone for?" I said, "I'm going to show you. It's going to reveal." She was like, "Here." She hands me a phone. My right hand to God right now. I looked at the phone, and I was like, "What's today?" Today's Thursday. I was like, Sunday seems to be real interesting for some reason. She said, "Okay." I said, "Sunday seems real interesting." So I scrolled through the go back Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday, Sunday. Boom. I see an 800 number. So I was like, "Yes, there's something up with this number right here." She said, "Okay, call it. Thank you for calling Time Warner. If you know your party's extension, press 3. I was like, Hung up. She looks at me and she was like, "Do you feel better now?" I said, "No, because I need to get to the directory. When I get to the directory, it's going to come to my spirit and I'm going to know what's going on." She was like, "Well, how you plan on doing that?" Boom. Call the number back. "Thank you for calling Time Warner." And it says, for our directory, press 2. Boom, hit 2. Spell the last 3 digits of the person's last name. All my life, the word Kobe came to my spirit. Kolby.
Okay.
I typed in KOL. Transferring to Kobe.
Wow.
She said, "What the fuck? What?" She lost it. She was like, "So you talked to him? So you're just trying to catch me in a lie? And I'm sorry, you wasn't here.
Wow.
You wasn't here. I went on a date. Why do you?" "So you guys talked?" I said, "No." "That's bullshit. You talked to him because you know his name, and you knew the job number." I said, "I didn't know the job number. I just went to the date of the intuition because that day on Sunday when I was in Germany, I couldn't get a hold of you all day. So that was a perfect sign for me knowing I talked to you on a pattern. I'm 9 hours ahead of you. I know, you know what I mean? Like I should be able to." Next thing you know, she was like, I said, "Listen, you can't lie to me. Me and God have a strong relationship. I feel things. Not to scare you, but I know shit. I ask God for 2 things every single day. Discernment and wisdom. What do you think's gonna happen? I'm gonna know some shit." She was like, "It will never happen again." So I'm like, okay. 4 days later, I'm in the grocery store grabbing some roses.
She did it again?
Grabbing some roses. And I was like,
After all that.
I was like, I'm not getting her some roses. She got roses already. Threw them down. Called her up. I said, "Hey, listen, I was planning on getting you some roses today. She was like, and? I said, you ain't getting that shit. She said, why? I said, because you already got roses. She said, I didn't get roses. I said, do me a favor. Don't ever talk to me again. I'm done. I don't want nothing to do with you. Lose my number. Click. She calls back. What's going on? I said, you got roses, and now you're sitting here playing games with me. I told you about me and God. I said, you know something? Check this out. If you're so determined that you didn't get it, you know my God gave me this gift to save somebody's life. If God is telling me to go save somebody, and I can't trust what God is telling me because you want me to believe that you didn't get these flowers, and I go and trust your word that you didn't get these flowers, and God told me that you got the flowers, I can miss out on saving somebody's life. Do you want that on your conscience?
That's deep. That's heavy.
She turned around and was like, okay, my ex-boyfriend got me flowers today and I didn't accept it, but it's still on my desk and da-da-da. How do you know this shit? How? I said, listen, do me a favor. She said, what? I'll do anything. What? Don't ever call me again. You can't lie to me. She was like, I'm sorry. 2 hours later, 1-800-Flowers. She sent me roses.
Just let it go, girl.
Right.
She sent me some roses.
Have you ever seen any of this in action since you guys have been friends?
Not personally, but
Okay.
I've seen the reactions of, high profile people like praising him for his gift, right? Like
Okay.
from the likes of like Tay Diggs, Oprah, you know what I'm saying? Just high level people that just kind of like, kind of praise him, you know what I'm saying, for his gift and his talent. So it's just like seeing it from that aspect is just inspiring in itself, you know what I'm saying? That's why I kind of, when I listen to him speak about these stories, it's just like
We all have the gift. We just don't know. A lot of people just don't give it permission to actually exist.
Yeah.
This podcast was my vision. Danny. Hey, Danny. Yeah. Can you come here for 1 second? I don't know how we could do this.
She can do go right here.
nah, you want to sit, you can sit here if you like.
So, tell them how this came about.
It's all good. I'm a gentleman.
Tell them how this came about. Okay. How I met you.
You want to sit down here?
encounter.
Come sit down here,
No,
love.
it's okay. Stay there. Stay there. No, it's okay. It's okay. Can I go with mine?
Yes. With my
Okay.
bestie.
This okay. How I met Dwayne? Oh my God! I have all this because of Dwayne. First of all, thank you so much. Dwayne met me. I'm living in Marina Del Rey, and then I was one of those days like you're doing things and don't know what to figure out. I was working for corporations. And then I was walking, and then just like wondering if my life was gonna be the same or not. And then this guy came to me and say, "I'm feeling your energy." I say, "What? You don't know me." "I'm feeling your energy." I'm like, "Really?" I was trying to. I don't know. It's weird, right? I say, you have this boss, this thing strong on you. I know you're gonna do something great. And I'm like, "Really?" He like, yeah, and then he told me about his work, and now he was Brazilian also artist, and then I know that Brazilian artist was Ludmilla, and like, yeah, this, and then I started to follow him. So after a while, I was following him, and then I started to do my podcast in home on my kitchen, and then I contacted him. I say, "Dwayne, I'm doing a podcast." He said, "Great, keep doing. I like what I sing." I say, "Okay, that's cool, right?"
Yeah.
And then I was okay, keep it going my podcast. And then sooner or later I started to have a vision for the studio. I working to create a studio. I told him, "I'm gonna build a studio." He said, keep it going. That's the way, right, Jonni? And then because of him, I have this place. I'm so blessed to have met him that day at the market, because he gave me inspiration to keep going, to believe in myself. I don't know if it wasn't him, I would believe that I could make it, this right now. So he's a really big part of this. He told me that it's coming something big, and I was like, really? And then, yeah, and this is happening right now. I have you guys here. I'm so happy, and because of him. And then he gave me some interview. I was really excited because I was wow, Dwayne The Rock, wow. And my friends, are you interviewed Dwayne The Rock? I say, yeah. Oh my God, really? Wow. Because, I'm Brazilian. It's just like, it's just like I love the word from me, but I'm so glad. Thank you so much, Dwayne. And I keep going. He say, you go, do it. It's gonna be good. And now he's supporting us. And thank you, Dwayne. Such much love and bless.
Yes.
And he helped me in my crisis. I need help. I need a hake. I need help. I need a word that he comes and hug and give the energy, the spirit, and it's amazing. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're
Dwayne.
welcome. The thing I had a vision of her being like powerful. So she was like, you don't know me. She was like, you don't know me. You don't know.
Yeah.
I said, listen, I feel it. And then I told her, come to my studio so you can have your own podcast at my studio. And then she says, I'm thinking about having that. I said, you know what? You need your own space. I said, you know what? I want you to have your own space. You need to have your own space. Boom. And then she called me up. I got the keys. I got my own space.
Yeah.
And it just, I watched them came here. I seen them tear up. There was no floors. There was no furniture.
Yeah.
This wasn't painted. There's all these. It was just a white room.
Yes.
And then she just put it together. Had a grand opening. People come in. And I was just like, she's iconic. She's a Brazilian Oprah.
Thank you. We are. Thank you.
But
Thank
the
you so
thing is,
much.
we have to see. We all have strengths. We all have weaknesses. We must identify what our strengths and what our weaknesses are. What we're weak in, we build a team to be that strength for our weakness. That's how you actually move. There's not one person that can actually do 100 jobs at the same time that it's being done. So you create a team and an empire, and that's how it moves. But if you're wearing all the hats, eventually you're going to burn yourself out. So the goal is to work smarter, not harder. And when you trust your intuition, God will turn around and say, you know what? Today, stay home. And you'll be like, yo, man, I ain't going nowhere. Why? What's up, man? God just told me to stay home. Huh? God told me, yeah. Are you serious? Yeah. So I'll catch up with you. I go look. I get in my car the next day. Boom! There was a shootout. 3 people shot. Shot where I was going.
Yikes.
You know what I mean? So for me, I was just like, okay, God, you told me don't go out. So then I started just trusting the voice. When you trust the voice, thank you. When you trust the voice that you have in your head, there's 3 voices. So here's the 3 voices, okay? There's God, right? There's your subconscious, and then there's your conscience. God speaks to your subconscious speaks to your conscience. And that's what you hear. If you bypass the subconscious and the conscience and hear directly from God, you know what the voices, you know what they are. Subconscious is dead on. Subconscious is you closing your eyes, being hypnotized, and actually walking out of here perfect. Conscious is too cautious and too careful, and is prone for mistakes. Subconscious is God's likeness. When you roll in autopilot, that's when people say, oh, it's just a coincidence. It's not a coincidence. It's divine order. And we deal with divine order on a subconscious level. That's why meditation and sleep are major factors in our whole essence. Mm-hmm. And sleep and rest is 2 different things. There are people who sleep who ain't resting. Mm-hmm. And there are people who rest You could sit here and just take deep breaths. That's resting, and still have enough energy like someone who slept 8 hours. So I teach people how to just give power to the energy. My gifts ain't no different than anybody else's. The big difference between me and everybody else is I gave myself permission to listen to the gifts and allow the gifts to go in front of me. So when I roll, I'm rolling with go left, go right, go this way. And I move in spirit. I don't move at everybody's pace. I piss people off. We're working on a project. I don't move as fast as you want me to move. Or I move faster than you move. It's going to be one or the other. Either I'm going to be here or I'm going to be here. And the only time that you're going to be here with me is if you slow down or if you speed up. I'm never going to your pace. I'm never going to do it. And it's the reason why is because I have to be at peace with the way that I move. Because if I move the way you move and it's against my whole spirit and my energy, I'm setting myself up. So I trust my judgment before everybody else's. And I listen. I am a team player. And I have been in situations where I said, you know what? I think, and I know. I think is not supported by fact. I know is. So when I'm in the middle of I think and I know, I don't do shit. Because now I have a conflicting, damn if I do, damn if I don't. And then I turn around and be like, okay, well, if you feel like that, okay, then we'll roll with that. So next thing you know, we roll with that. Then in the middle of that, I'm like, no, bro. Pivot. What are you talking about? Go to the right. Rock, we're here. I said, if you want to make this connection, go to the right. God is telling me to tell you to go to the right. Man, if you mess this up, it messes up the whole purpose of us being here. I'm here to get a grant from Jennifer Hudson. That's why I'm here. And I have to connect with her sister. God told me to tell you go right. Rock, they're going to be over here. Bro, if you don't listen to me, bro, I'm leaving. He said, you really adamant about this, huh? Yeah. All right, fine. Next thing you know, Jennifer Hudson's sister walks by and says, hey, for some reason, I feel like I know you. He's like, huh? Who are you? I'm Jennifer Hudson's sister. Oh, wow, yeah, we do know each other. He got the grant for his cousin, a $50,000 grant that Jennifer Hudson was giving out. There was only one left.
So with all of these amazing messages you're getting and you're letting God use you, I want to hear from both of you as we wrap one piece of advice. And Jonni, we can start with you on what you would tell viewers who are pursuing their purpose.
Just believe in yourself. Of course, that's the cliche, right? Believe in yourself. Don't take no for an answer. You know what I'm saying? And ride it all the way through. You know, we tend to decide on one thing, right? But when we don't get that instant gratification, then we just assume it's never going to work, right? And then we decide to do something else. But then when we continue in that same, process, right? It's like, okay, you go halfway, nothing happens. Okay, try this. You go halfway, and you're just continuing that same cycle, just doing something half-fast, not seeing the result you want when you want it, and then next thing you know, you don't get nothing accomplished. So I would say, ride it out. You know what I'm saying? Go through the tough times, believe in yourself, network with the right individuals, with the like-minded individuals that are on the same journey or can at least complement your journey to get you to where you need to go without being transactional, obviously, creating those relationships and those bonds that hold that foundation, you know what I'm saying? And then help people along the way without expecting nothing in return directly from that person, right? Because the blessing's gonna come to you from God. The more you keep that good-hearted nature within you. You know what I mean? So that's my piece of advice.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
My advice is tap into your own power. And then ask God for discernment and wisdom, and ask God to go in front of you to bless your path and move in autopilot. Your schedule is not on the clock of success. God gives you the schedule, the clock of success. It's not your clock. It's God's clock.
Amen.
It's when you turn around and say, wow, it's time. You always hear the saying, from your mouth to God's ears. I don't even say that. I say from God's mouth to my ears. God told me to tell you. That's why I'm called the messenger. Because I get the message. And a lot of times people find out the hard way. And when they find out the hard way, they'll always come back like, man, I should have listened to you. I remember the craziest thing. I'll tell you this when we end it. I told my friend, let's take the blue car. He said, the blue car? I said, yeah. I said, if we take this car, we're going to get pulled over. He was like, we're going to get pulled over? I said, yeah, for some reason. I saw it. The cops pulling us over. He said, nah, bro, that's superstition. We get in the car. We get to the right off Hawthorne. We're turning. Woo, whoop. He said, you called cops? You called cops on me, bro? Bro, I got a problem with you right now. You snitched? You called the cops on me? I said, no, bro. He said, they're here. They're behind us. You said we're going to get pulled over if I take this car. You called the cops. You the feds? I was like, no, bro. God told me, don't get in this car. Get in the other one. He said, how did God tell you that? He said, nah, I don't believe it. So I had to call one of my homies. I said, will you tell this dude about me being clairvoyant, being intuitive, having this ability? Can you please explain this to him? He said, yo, The Rock told me stay home, and I just avoided being on a train that got into a train wreck. So I'm always going to listen to him. He told me stay home. I'm staying put because I know God is talking to him. He was like, damn, I should have listened to you. My bad. Is there any advice you can give me right now? I said, all I want you to do in this present moment, right now, the cop is going to come to this door. Do not act like you are just like going to, don't even give him the assumption that you're not willing to participate on what he wants you to do. As soon as you buck, as soon as you challenge that, it's going to challenge you and backfire on you, and then you're going to be in some stuff. So when he comes over, roll accordingly. Look him in his eyes and tell him thank you for pulling you over. And he said, why would I say thank you? I said, because you're going to tell him thank you because now he's going to be saluted that he's doing his job. So now he's going to get a little acknowledgement. You're going to feed his ego by telling him thank you. So he going to feel some type of way about, okay, well, what are you saying thank you for? Well, I appreciate you doing your job. Because at the end of the day, whether a good cop or bad cop, if they're serving the purpose, they're doing the job. And you want to salute people who do the right thing. So I told him to say it. He said it. He was like, oh, yeah, I'm just here. I'm doing this. I just want to make sure that everybody's okay. And, thank you on that note, man. Have a good night. The car was dirty. We had bad tags.
Yikes.
So if he had turned over and said something else, they would have said license and registration, please. Soon as he showed the registration, the reason why he got pulled over because he didn't turn the signal on to turn in the lane. He just turned over. It's not that they knew his plates was expired or anything. They were about to find out. I told him to salute the officer.
Wow.
Tell him thank you. He comes over, he says, oh, on that note, have a good day. He said, yo, you do got powers. You do, yo, bro. We was about to walk home. The car was about to get impounded. The tags are expired. I said, so why was you giving me a hard time when I wanted you to? He said, because I want to get out there and go network. The car that doesn't have the legitimate tags is a better car than the car.
Yeah.
It's a bucket. The bucket got legitimate tags. We can't show up to an event in the bucket. We got to show up in style. I said, no. We show up in a bucket, park 5 blocks away from the event, and pull up. Just like that. No one needs to see. He said, this is why we're friends. You're the other side of my brain. And that was like 2003. But the thing is, though, I've always made it very clear to people, please, if you have to second guess something, don't do it. I don't care how big, how important it is. If you're not sure about something, don't do it. Because the universe responds to 3 things. Here's the 3 things that the universe responds to. Yes, no, and universal cosmic karma, its own law of knowing what yes and no is. The universe already knows. So you tap into, before your yes and before your no, you tap into the universe and get that download. And then your yes is in alignment with the universe. Your yes is in alignment with God. So when you sit there and like, should I go left? Should I go right? I'm not sure. God, please give me discernment, wisdom. Universe, give me discernment, wisdom right now. You know what? I'm going to roll with this. And it's supported, and it's actually dead on.
Gotta decide.
The biggest thing that I have to tell you.
Oh, I'm scared.
Run it. Run it. And be unapologetic. Stop worrying about what people think. Stop worrying about, it's cool that you do this because you get your views, all that. Like, the validation has already been validated. You are somebody. You are iconic. You are legendary. Straight up. I just need you to believe it. Here's your principles.
Okay.
Conceive, believe, and achieve. Conceive it, believe it, and it achieves it. That's it. But this was dope. The energy's real. Follow me at Dwayne Darock, Duane Darock. You will get the enlightenment. I'm writing a new book called Everyday Enlightenment. Nice. It's 15 chapters. It's about tapping into your higher self. It's about the journey of self. And once you learn who you are, not who you became, who you are. Sometimes people are not themselves and not happy of who they are. So they have to be somebody else. And that's an alter ego, and some people want to fit in. You don't have to fit in. You make people fit in and rise up to your equation. You're dope. You're purposeful. You're a winner. And you're surrounded by master numbers.
Thank you.
22.
22.
Hey.
My birthday's the 22nd. Where can we find you, Jonni?
JONNI, Vegas with a Z on all platforms. You can look up Spotify, check me out there. They got 5 albums up there waiting for you to listen to them and stream them. Podcast, sleepisforbillionaires.com. It's also on YouTube as well. Just got a new show on Amazon Prime called On a Roll, where we review sandwiches with celebrities with my partner Nathan Pell. So check that out on Amazon. And as well as my books that I mentioned earlier, they're all on Amazon as well. Network King and Sleep is for Billionaires. And SJA Capital Consultants, man. If you need your residential and commercial real estate in Los Angeles, man, holla at your boy.
Awesome. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us. I appreciate you.